Innovation, imagination, wonder. These are just some of the words used to describe Dr. Harvey Passes. Dr. Passes explores interesting people and ideas that will stimulate you. He questions the people who develop, create, and employ novel concepts in business and everyday lives. He especially loves to speak with successful people. How did they do it? How can you do it too? So let's join Dr. Harvey Passes in his quest of wonder and curiosity as we watch Dr. Harvey Passes Presents.
Oh, you're going to find this show very interesting. If you've got a business or if you're actively involved in a community, you're going to love this show. You're going to see what one town can do to try to help stimulate business and to help its residents avail themselves of products and services within the town. It's a great way to get visibility, and you're going to learn and see how the town of Manhasset has accomplished this with something very simple and very easy, but it took years to finally accomplish. It wasn't easy to do, but when you see it, it looks like it's such a simple thing, you know. Why didn't I think of that? One of those kind of things. Really simple and really easy. So, watch this show from a perspective. If you happen to live in Manhasset, great. Watch this show if you're from another community and you can see what you can do in your community as well. So let's get right down to it, and let me introduce to you two very interesting people and who helped make this thing become a reality, and I'll explain in a moment what that thing is. First, Nancy Morris. Nancy, great to see you again.
Thank you.
Thanks very much for taking the time to come down.
My pleasure.
And let me tell my viewer at home who Nancy Morris is. Nancy Morris not only runs the Manhasset State Farm Insurance Agency, aptly called Nancy Morris Agency,
right.
But she's also the president of the Manhasset Chamber of Commerce, and that's the hat that she's wearing today. Seated next to her is Don Holden. Welcome to the show, Don.
Thanks for having me, Harvey.
It's great. Don is the executive director of the St. Ignatius Retreat House, also in Manhasset. Surprise, surprise. And we did a show with you as well, as we did one with you in the past. But Don is also here today with the hat on as director, one of the directors of the Manhasset Chamber of Commerce. And I should note that I also wear one of those hats, and I'm also a director of the Manhasset Chamber of Commerce. So we're here to talk about what the Manhasset Chamber of Commerce has done. Wow, big intro.
Yeah.
Big intro.
Exciting.
Okay, Nancy.
Yes.
What has the Manhasset Chamber of Commerce done? My viewer is sitting at the edge of the seat saying, well, tell me already, what'd you do?
Well, we've been working on a really exciting project, and as Don knows, we've been working on it for months and months. Months. Even more. I became president in January, and as a part of that, we developed a business development committee, and we started talking about what we can do as a chamber to drive business to our chamber members' businesses, whether that be a retail business on Planome Road, whether that be to an insurance agency, to a retreat house,
to a dental office.
To a dental office. That's what we wanted to do. We wanted to focus on that. And so as a committee, we sat down and we started talking about that. How can we do that? And we came up with an idea that people don't use phone books so much anymore. Do you? I don't at
Not
my
really.
house.
Not a lot. Not a lot.
You know, I still have the little book maybe in my drawer, but no
it's
more.
Small.
It's small. I don't have room for it. So I have the computer on my in my kitchen, so I'll go and I'll Google a business, but I won't use that big phone book anymore. But we felt that a person in the community would still look at something that was small, that they could put in their drawer in their kitchen, and something that they could even, take a pencil out and write something about that store, a person's name or something. So that's how we started to get focused on this directory.
Yeah, I remember, Don, you, I believe it was like 2 years ago you had mentioned this.
Well, actually,
I think it was you, wasn't it you?
Yeah, well, it wasn't me, Harvey, but I think the real fruition of this directory has come about through Nancy's leadership. As she came in as the new president, full of energy, as you know, Nancy, as well as I do.
Right.
It was a, how do we drive, as she said, the consumer to the businesses in Manhasset. We talk about community, and what community has many facets. I mean, it's not only the people who live there, but it's the people who can access services there, products and services. And the stronger the community, the stronger that people use those businesses, the more likely businesses will come to Manhasset with a variety of services.
I think that's true. Why don't we do this? First, I just want to hold this up for a second. Maybe we can get a close-up shot of this. And this directory is absolutely just brilliant. It might look like, what's the big deal? So it's a directory. Oh, man. Yeah, a lot of work goes into this, a lot of thinking, so that individuals could use this for their own needs at home in our community. And I mean, there's just, I don't know how many pages there are on this thing, but there's like 70, 80 pages, something like that.
We had to tell the printer.
And there's just great information even from the town of North Hempstead in the back. You could see this. There's a 311. See if we can get a shot of this. There's a 311 number there for people to access Manhasset, but North Hempstead as well, and to get information. I mean, there's so many various things in this book. It's just a resource. It's an absolute resource. Thank you. A terrific resource that can be used. So to inaugurate the opening, unveil this, we had an unveiling presentation at your lovely place, the St. Ignatius Retreat House, and we just did a quick little filming of it. So let's see if we can run that videotape, and we'll keep our mics open so we can talk a little bit about what happened that night and who was there. And there we go. So this is like what it looks like after the unveiling, but in a moment we'll show everything else. So this is in a room, in one of your rooms in St. Ignatius. There we go.
Right, and no one had seen the cover up to this point. It's still covered now, and people were coming into the room. So we had people that worked on the project. We had all chamber members. We had people, we mailed to 700 people, 700 businesses, because we wanted anyone to be able to come to this.
That's right.
And to celebrate with us.
Right. Now, when it was filmed before the room really filled up, but mostly people had gathered around the food and wine. And there's Glenn Corbett from HSBC
Bank.
He helped out a lot. Now you're thanking all the people one by one. I couldn't film all of them there, but who are these two people?
Billy Delventhal and Andrea Bernstein from Anton Publications. And Andrea was very...
Who's that? Pat
that's
Grace,
Pat Grace,
our lovely editor of the Manhasset Press.
Pat's our best friend.
She's the best.
Been such a great friend to the Chamber of Commerce. But they really helped us sell the advertisements and get the word out as far as that was concerned.
And there's the unveiling of it, showing a big blow-up, which we
drum roll and everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that was absolutely terrific. It was absolutely terrific.
And it was a beautiful place to have it. It was just
the St. Ignatius Retreat House is just that's for another show. Oh, but we did that. Okay.
You had Father Damien on. We appreciate
it was a great show. Great show. Let's go back to this now. The simple question that my viewer is saying. So, where can I get one of these? How can I get one of these? What's the answer?
Good question. You want to talk about distribution?
Well, we're actually going to distribute it through the Manhasset Press. We're going to be sending it out to 5,000 of their subscribers.
Right.
And then they'll be available at the different at our different chamber members.
Right.
Right. Two specifically, Young's Fine Wines and Spirits will have the book after it goes out in the Manhasset Press, which is Thursday, November 13th. And so they will be available there. If people want to purchase extra copies, they're $3 a piece. So he'll have them. They'll be at my office at 22 Bayview Avenue, right across from the fire station. So if anyone wants an extra copy, they can come in and get one.
Right. Okay. So it's going to be available in all of our businesses, basically. People come if business people decide to want to partake in doing this.
That's right. Some of our chamber members, they might even decide to buy a number of them and give them to their clients. That kind of thing.
Right.
So.
Well, what can be done here is I'll give an email address. Unfortunately, we didn't put it on the screen, and that was a mistake of mine. I could tell my crew that if they're able to, but you won't have the time to type it up. But I'll give you the name right now of where you can send an email to see if you want to be able to get a copy of this in another fashion. You would just type in a person's name like Lee, L-E-E, Manhasset, Leemanhasset, Lee Manhasset, CC.
Stands for Chamber of Commerce.
Stands for Chamber of Commerce. So it's Lee, who's the executive secretary. Manhasset CC, Chamber of Commerce. So it's Lee Manhasset CC at AOL.com. Lee Manhasset CC at AOL.com, and just say, hey, I want to get one of these copies. How do I do that? And it'll be great because communities can learn what they can do for themselves also. Let's talk for a moment about the Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
What's the value of the Chamber of Commerce to the businesses and to the communities? Why do we have the Chamber of Commerce?
We get that question a lot, and I think everybody wants to know, what can the Chamber do for me? And I would say this year, if you didn't see what your $125 membership could give you, I don't think you're going to see it. This is what it gave you as an example. As a Chamber member, whether you advertise in this book or not, and we had 65 advertisers in the book, it was very, very well accepted, you still got your name in this book in bold because you were a Chamber member. So that's something that your Chamber membership bought you. Right now we're working on a website. That's going to be another opportunity for our businesses to be able to be listed in another fashion in a community website, not necessarily a Chamber website. Networking events. We've had 2 very successful networking events, and we've had speakers. One on identity theft.
That was very good.
Thank you. Things of interest. That was
very significant.
Yeah, a woman from the district attorney's office. So that was very valuable information. So networking events.
I just think the whole idea of community, Harvey, is so important because I think the businesses link themselves to one another through a chamber. If they come in and they say at St. Ignatius Retreat House, so where can I find a good dentist?
And your answer is there aren't any.
There aren't any in town, but you may have to go to
But I'm pumped.
but as it turns out, that whole references and be able to refer one another, I think now becomes an important part of what the chamber is all about. So that whole idea of community, and I guess I'm talking more about community because at St. Ignatius this community is very important.
Yes.
You know, so I think and bringing community in and getting them involved with one another, because I think it's really that drives, I think, the whole idea of profitability, especially when you're in this small area. And Plandome Road's not a big area, but we're not only on Plandome Road, we're extended, certainly to Northern Boulevard.
It's also encouraged businesses to work together. In other words, I was talking to one of the businesses today, and they said, you know, I have a lot of people come in at Thanksgiving. I want to give them a thank you gift for shopping with me at the holiday season. And I'm going to look for another chamber member, and we're going to come up with a program together of how, you know, I could use their product to gift to my clients.
You know, I had a number of business people come over and discuss that, and we came up with the deal was that when they're going to thank their patrons for coming in by them coming to me for me to give each of those people root canals and extractions. So it'll be I mean, what better way to say thank you?
It'll be like pulling teeth.
Like pulling teeth. Anyway, just a little boom boom there. But the important thing becoming serious again is that who's kidding who? The economy is right now in a horrible situation.
Yeah, it's tough.
I was trying to think of the proper words here.
It's tough right now.
It's very tough. And I think that it's very important for businesses to try to help each other and to network together to see what they can do. Instead of saying, what's in it for me? Instead, try to say, how can I help you? Yeah. 2 things happen. Number 1, if I say, how can I help you? We set up a vacuum of obligation because you're going to be thinking of me now because I'm doing what I can for you unsolicited. And then you in turn are now going to say, what can I do for Harvey? He's just helped Nancy.
What I try to encourage also, Harvey, at each chamber meeting is we all get up and we introduce ourselves at each meeting. And what I try to say to them is, as you listen to every person in the room, think about, do you have an idea for that business? Do you have something that you did that might work for them, or vice versa? So we're all sharing ideas. One of the meetings that I'd like to plan in the future is thinking outside the box to produce additional revenue for your business. What are we all doing that may be different For instance, my business, I'm an insurance business. What does that have to do with a cell phone collection? I'm running a cell phone collection right now. What do you do with your old cell phone? You don't know what to do with it, but if you give it to me, I recycle it to someone who could really use it. It has nothing to do with insurance, but it has everything to do with getting somebody to walk in the door and say, wow, this is a really professional office. I think I might like to do business here. And next time they get their renewal for their home policy or their auto, maybe they'll think of me. So it's all about that community, that sharing and sharing ideas.
I think it made good
Well,
sense.
Steve Trackman, who's a local photographer, who's also a chamber member.
We did a show with him on photography. He's great.
That's his photography.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
He has come to me and said, how can I use St. Ignatius? Could I use St. Ignatius for taking maybe some wedding pictures or things like that? Just the grounds, the beauty of the
Spectacular. It's
so
beautiful.
There's the synergy there about how people can work together and how people can cooperate.
Yeah, that's true.
To pull things together. So
That's absolutely true. So let's talk about some of the future events. Well, we've got installation luncheon, for example, coming up. I mean, what's happening? What have we got so people could be aware of? Are there some events that the public can come down to?
Yeah.
Talk.
Yeah, okay.
Go ahead.
We were just talking about some ideas surrounding the poster contest, which is to kick off the holiday shopping season. And we have a holiday tree lighting, and it's located at the Mary Jane Davies Gazebo, which is right on Planum Road. And
Right near the train station.
right near the train station. So a lot of dads and moms get off the train and they
Can't miss it.
meet their kids at the gazebo. And
Can't
we have
miss
this
it.
wonderful event, 4:15 on the first Friday of December, which I think this year is December 5th. And one thing that we have leading up to that is a poster contest for the kids. And they're now working on posters that will promote the event. And we'll have a judging for the posters, and the kids win, first, second, third prize. All their posters are displayed all throughout Manhasset. They get so excited looking for their poster in one of the store windows. And then on that Friday, December 5th, we present the winners of the poster contest, in addition to lighting this big tree, and everybody, it gets you in the spirit of the holiday.
It's a good feeling of community again.
It's tremendous. And that event also started to jumpstart holiday shopping in Manhasset. And so we're trying to think of ways that we can get that focus back on, let's have hot chocolate and let's light the tree, and then let's go down Planum Road and just window shop or start thinking about your holiday shopping right here on Planum Road. So we have that coming up. We'll have our December meeting, which will be the first Tuesday of the month at 5:30. You mentioned the installation lunch, which we had last year at La Coquille,
Right.
The French restaurant.
Yeah, that was wonderful.
Owned by Michael Miller. I know
We
you
did a show with him
done
too,
a show on him.
right?
That was spectacular. I'm just not sure how we can top that one, but we're also
Do it at St. Ignatius.
well, we're looking for a local restaurant to have that luncheon at, and so that will be in January.
Oh, I've got one for you at the end of the show, I'll tell you.
Okay, great. The big thing that I think is going to drive membership next year, like Access Manhasset drove it for this year, will be the unveiling of our website. So we have contracted with a web designer, and we're in the throes of doing that, and that's going to be our really big event for next year, is to kick that off, which will be exciting.
That will be exciting. So what I'm hearing that people should understand is that there's a lot of things that an active Chamber of Commerce will do within its town. Some will just lay dormant and not do anything and just have a name. But there are so many things that can be done when people get together and they really want to have everyone's best interest at heart. I'm being redundant, but I'm going to say it again. It's more importantly to give than to receive. It's more important to think about what you can do for someone else's business so that you assist them, you help them, you'll get.
Right.
You'll get back. Instead of just saying, well, what is this going to do for me?
Right.
Hey, what are you going to do for it?
Yeah. If I may, I just want to mention something else that I was thinking about. What's nice about shopping locally is that you can know who the owner of the business is.
Right.
And how nice is that to walk into a bank
Right.
and say, oh, hi, Rebecca, because you know that Rebecca is the branch manager of that
Right.
bank. Or that you see Nancy when you come in and pay an insurance policy. Or that you know Don at the retreat house.
Right.
Or, and if you look in this book, one of our newer businesses, Merle Norman, you see, Christina's name in here. She's the owner. You can have those relationships, and to me, that's a special part of shopping locally. These are the people that own these businesses. They want to make you happy because they want to have you as a continued customer. So this is another piece of information you can get from this book, because in some cases their pictures are in the ad. Their names are in the ad.
It's relationship building.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and hopefully
Which is
you'll
very,
take
very important.
You'll take the book when you go into a store, and you'll write people's names down, and so you'll know who the players are.
Nonprofit organizations have learned a lot from businesses. And here's something that a business can learn from nonprofit organizations, and that is, as you just said, building those relationships. So that there is a quid pro quo, even without looking for it. As you said, ask not.
Yeah, I agree with what you're saying, absolutely. The first Tuesday of the month, when is our meetings?
We try for the first Tuesday of every month. Sometimes in the month that's tough, like we just had an election on the first Tuesday in November.
Right.
So we try to move our meeting around that. Our meeting will always be listed in the Manhasset Press. They can always use that email address that we talked about before.
LeeManhassetCC@AOL.com.
Right. They could also talk to a chamber member and find out when the next meeting is. So we try to focus on the Tuesday, first Tuesday in the month at 5:30. We now meet at the fire station, which is on Bayview Avenue on the second floor. So we're trying to
Giant space.
Yeah, it is. It's big. It's
Giant
hard.
space.
We've blossomed as an organization. So we had an office at the railroad station.
No, it was
little.
No, right, exactly.
It's a great problem to have that we grew out of that space.
Yeah.
And so the fire station, they've been very gracious to allow us to use their facilities.
And we're filling that space up now too,
Yeah.
which is
Well,
good.
that space, they can handle hundreds of people in that space.
It's big.
I mean, which is just amazing. But I'll tell you, your effort and your energy. I know Les got the ball rolling, and then he left it, so to speak, the position as president, Les Frey, and then you took it on, and your adrenaline and your energy and your passion and your commitment has been really great to drive this and to get it going, which is just terrific.
Thanks. I see doing more with Access Manhasset too. I was talking to Ed Wasmer, Young's Wines, and we always bounce ideas off each other because he's first vice president, and I'll call him and say, Ed, what do you think about this idea? And we were talking about a shopping program, and he said, Nancy, you got to use this Access Manhasset. That's a name that's got to continue. Access Manhasset for your holiday shopping, Access Manhasset for whatever. So I think this is going to be the springboard for other things that we do, and it's not only shopping Plan Nome Road, because as you know, a lot of our members aren't on Plan Nome Road.
That's right.
So it's a way of driving business to everybody, So
Right.
I see that as a
Well,
springboard.
the important thing is if you need something, it's great to use this as your first line of reference, and to see if you can find it locally for a number of reasons. One, why spend more gas going a further distance when you could have it close by? Number two, as you said, get to see what's happening in your neck of the woods. Use the services.
Did we mention also that this book is not only chamber members? We have about 140, 150 members this year, but we wanted to make this book really usable for the entire community. So we spent hours and hours, and Glenn Corbett was so instrumental in doing the database. There are 700 businesses in Manhasset, and they are all represented in this book. We tried not to leave anyone out, and hours of editing went into making sure their name, phone number, address was correct. So this is not only a book of 150 chamber members, this is a book of every business we think that's located in the town of Manhasset. So it's really a super reference.
So think of that. It's not just been filtered. Some people watching the show might say, wait a minute, you only got on that book there just the chamber people. What about that? We want to, as Nixon said, we want to make that perfectly clear. That's not the case. This book will have everything
Right.
Every business that's in Manhasset will be in here,
Yep.
except there'll be some bolded identification to show when it's been bolded that it happens to be a chamber person.
Correct. And the other thing that Doris Murray at Stonytown, she was the one that set up the book for us. She's a chamber member.
Right.
What she also did for us was she put the page number in the margin for the advertisement.
Okay,
so
there it is.
A lot
Add
of the
page on top.
and
I
a lot
see
of the ads are very informational. If you go to them, they'll tell you more about the business, certainly. So so that was also a really nice benefit. And I don't think we also mentioned that we purposely decided that this book would not be done next year. That this
2
is
years.
a
Good idea.
2-year resource.
Yeah, I agree with you.
And when the
agree with
advertiser
that.
looked at advertising in the book, they knew that their investment was for 2 years. And so we will distribute it through December of this year, and then pull it back and bring it back out again next fall to give it another shot in the arm.
You would have to get started working on this, like, a year before it's due. So we have that, which would be very, 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 very important to do. Absolutely. I think this is just a terrific thing, and I'm very excited about it, and I love this a lot. You should really do your best to try to get your hands on one of these if you're from Manhasset, and if you're not from Manhasset, try to get your hands on one of these so that you could institute something like this for yourself in your town through your Chamber of Commerce. It doesn't matter where you are. I can't even begin to tell you how many chambers of commerce there must be around Long Island. Right?
A lot.
A lot. So
Yeah.
all the towns could be doing this to help stimulate business.
Absolutely.
And I'm sure that Nancy would be thrilled to have a conversation as president of our chamber to discuss it with you if you want to know how to get going and what was done and what her resources were and what we did all around, which is terrific.
Why don't we give them my my email address too, if you would like to.
Go ahead.
It's pretty simple. It's Nancy, my first name, at Nancy
at
Morris.
Nancy at Morris?
No, Nancy at
Yeah.
Nancy Morris Agency.
Oh, okay. Nancy at Nancy Morris Agency.
.com.
.com. Okay. Nancy at NancyMorrisAgency.com.
Right.
Okay. That's great. So this way people could see. We're just about out of time. What other comments or advice or thoughts do you think that you could offer my viewer right now?
Access Manhasset.
Shop local.
locally. And look,
Shop local.
And really take a look at it and see all the resources that we do have. It's not only Plan-Om Road. I would say especially our members, are more non-Plan-Om Road businesses than Plan-Om Road businesses.
Well,
so
that's
there
true.
might be some
there's
surprises.
There's a little street called Northern Boulevard.
Yeah, that's true.
That's got a couple of businesses on it, but it's
right.
true. We're not just saying, Plan-Om Road. And there are businesses, services that are out of people's homes.
Right. Well, we're talking to two groups here, two target groups. We're talking to the consumer,
Right.
and we're talking to the business.
Correct.
To the consumer, I don't think you could have a better piece in your home. I mean, we even role played. Honey, where's such and such a restaurant? Go look it up in Access Manhasset. What's a good restaurant in town? Look it up in Access. Don't go on the web. Look it up in Access.
I like that. I like that. That's cute.
The other thing too is I think we found
You got 30 seconds. Go
as a
ahead.
group that we enjoy this. We had fun doing this together. It gave us a time to meet, to talk about it. And I think going back to that community, into those relationship buildings, I think the people who have worked on this have become closer as individuals, and their businesses, that we know more about one another's business
That's
now.
very important. Very, very, very significant. Very significant. Well, I think we're just about out of time here.
Thanks for having us.
We accomplished a lot. It was just terrific.
Thank you.
It's my pleasure, believe me. It's not a matter of when you say thanks for having us. I mean, I'm with you. I mean, we're all in this thing together. I thought it was a great idea. Here you go, Access Manhasset. See if we can get a shot of it, and we can see what's going on here. And look for it in your friendly local store in Manhasset. And if they don't have it, say, hey, where is your Access Manhasset? I want to get my copy. And believe me, their ears and eyes will open up and go, whoops, I got to get them. I got to get them. People are asking for it. It's terrific. Okay. So, Don Holden. Thank you very much for coming down. Nancy Morris.
Thanks, Harvey.
Thank you very much. It was terrific. And thank you for spending a couple of minutes with us so that you could see what one local community is doing to help its commercial district and to help its residents as well. And it's a smart idea, especially during these trying times. So, Dr. Pass is saying, just like Nancy and Don, whatever you do it with passion, or what's the use? See you again next time.